Hello and welcome. This is episode 11 of In the Flow. We are the Eureka Effect. My name is Hannah.
And my name is Courtney.
And we will be your hosts on this psychedelic journey. So come with us.
Yeah, today we don't have very much planned to talk about, but we did kind of want to touch on astral projection because we both have been trying to astral project, but it's kind of a process as we come to learn.
Yeah, last night I actually listened to that video we were talking about. What is it?
The gateway tapes?
Yeah, so it's the first step, which I'm trying to remember it right now because obviously I was half asleep when I was doing it. But you don't astral project in that one. You're just sort of feeling yourself and your your
own
soul.
Energy.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but I want to listen to it with headphones next time because I didn't, because do the left and right
hemisync.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So it makes like a tone on each side of your ears, and then when the tones are combined, it sounds like it's going like wom 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 wom, but it's not really doing that. It's just your brain
making that connection. I forget what they call it. Yeah, it's all very, very, very interesting. We should link it, and we'll link it in the YouTube bio if this video makes it to YouTube.
Yeah, we could only find the first gateway tape, unfortunately. I looked through the same YouTube channel that has the first clip, and I couldn't find any of the other. I don't know what they're not called acts. They're called I can't remember. It's like
we should try and find, first of all, like the list, or he says what the next one is going to be, or volume, isn't it? That they refer to them as, like the first and second volume. I don't remember, but yeah, what are they exactly? They're like government. Are they like the CIA's?
I think it's like an experiment or something. Like it's classified information that was used for an experiment, but they had it classified because they didn't want everyone astral projecting, I guess. Because funny enough, if you guys aren't acquainted with like astral projection or don't know what it is essentially like an out-of-body experience where your soul leaves your body, and you can do it intentionally, or you can also, like when I was younger, I've done it as a kid by accident, which most of us do when we're younger.
Have we talked about our kid astral projection experiences on the podcast? Because I'd like to hear yours again in detail.
I don't have any like details of one. I don't remember. All I know was it took me, I was interested in astral projection for a while. We've been talking about it. I didn't have any core memories of it at all. I thought I never astral projected. And then one day, like unrelated, I was doing something else, and I had like a flashback memory of what it felt like to astral project. And like the feeling of bouncing around on top of your house, because like that is a common thing that happens. Like you rise out of your body and you basically just stay in the same area. I would like jump around from house to house, and it felt like it wasn't a dream. And I didn't realize until like just out of the blue when it came to me, and I'm like, oh, that's what astral projection is.
Man, that's interesting because I lived in an apartment building when I was a kid. So my experience when I astral projected as a kid was not on top of the buildings. It was jumping out of the balcony.
Oh.
And like it all, like now that you're talking about your experience, like 110% that one time I can remember was me astral projecting, because that was like vivid. I remember it like it happened. It was so vivid. I don't know.
It's a different feeling than just dreaming or even lucid dreaming. It is a completely different experience. Like you can feel yourself coming out of your body. It's I guess for people that don't recognize like what we're talking about, the sensation, it's kind of like sleep paralysis, but with you're not stuck and you can't move. You're able to like basically pull your soul out of your body and go out.
Yeah, I feel like sleep paralysis is when you're like in between and you haven't quite ascended all the way. And if you don't know what's going on, maybe that blockage and that fear is what
keeps you in your body.
Causes the sleep paralysis.
Well, because you're trying to move. You're not trying to astral project. You're trying to fucking move your arms.
Yeah.
But that kind of ties into one of our first podcasts. Like, we were talking about like I think it was one of our first ones, like the hypnagogic sleep hallucinations or whatever, like how I used to see things like when I was younger, when I was falling asleep or waking up. I don't have those at all anymore, but I think that dives into the same realm as like astral projection. It has to be.
My sister used to, have I talked about this? My sister used to hallucinate a lot in the middle of the night and like freak out and have to sleep with my mom a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna ask her about that the next time I see her, because like she would see like eyes and like she would talk about trippy shit, man, trippy shit. And I mean, I remember seeing stuff in the dark too, like seeing. This is all just coming back to me as I'm talking about it. Like, I don't know, like scenes and stuff when I'm looking into just darkness, like blackness.
Like, I definitely relate to that too. Like, in the darkness, I would see dots, and then, like, things or, like, portals or, like, weird scenery would form within it. And,
that
like,
is
interactive.
So crazy. Yeah. Oh, my God. Weird.
Yeah.
That
is, like, a different... I would, in my head, categorize that separate from the hypnagogic sleep hallucinations. Like, those are, like, I see a spider literally dangling from the ceiling and, like, going into my face, or...
those are not,
I've seen a drone fly through the window and into the wall. Like, it's, like, there's not any, like, I'm, like, slapping myself in the face, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, it's not, like... When I was younger and seeing the, like, the dots and stuff, like, I feel like that was me manipulating and, like, interacting, but... As per the hypnagogic sleep hallucinations, they felt more intrusive and very, like...
out of your control.
Yeah, and they're never something that doesn't scare me. Like, even if it isn't bad, necessarily, like, it's stuff that doesn't make sense, or, like...
There's a eerie feeling
every
about
fucking time, yeah.
That's how I feel when I'm sort of in that in-between when I have sleep paralysis, because I don't think I've had any... vivid, like, hallucinations the way you're describing, like, whatever, but I definitely have had similar experiences.
Where you just feel uneasy, because there's some people that have sleep paralysis and hypnagogic sleep hallucinations, and I've never, from what I can remember...
Someone trying to steal you or, like, curse you in your sleep, like, they've astral projected to you.
Or something like that.
Because one of the times that happened, I literally... was like being pulled by my foot by like a little black mass demon thing.
So you've seen it? So that would I think that would be like a hypnagogic sleep hallucination. Okay. I really do, because your brain
that doesn't happen everyone.
Well, most people that have sleep paralysis seem to complain to see stuff, and I've knock on wood never seen anything when I'm... Oh, shit.
The floor.
I've never seen anything in the state of being, like, paralyzed, but that is when you're more apt to... Sorry, I just got the dog going, because I knocked on wood. Pardon us. Okay, yeah. Many people complain about seeing demons and shit when they're in sleep paralysis, which I do think now that, like, when I used to see it from a more, like, scientific, this is what happens because your brain is in a state. Yes. But now that I'm into astral projection and I can see that, like, there's sustenance to it. It's not just your brain producing chemicals that make you fucking trip out. It is real... tangible experiences that people are having. I have a different outlook on it, because your brain is in a certain state, and the fact that your body's asleep and your brain's awake, like, you're obviously, I don't know, now I'm questioning, and it was my biggest fear, because back when I used to have the hypnagogic sleep hallucinations, like, on the regular, it's happened twice where I was getting them all the time. I told myself...
What about, like, sorry, I'm interrupting, but what about, like, alien abductions and stuff like that? Like, you know, when people say they've gone through that, because... When I think of my specific experience, so I felt a hand on my head first, and then someone was dragging me by my leg, and you're talking about, like, a drone coming in, like, maybe it was someone trying to, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
like, steal your soul, or...
It could be anything like that, really. Like, I tried to belittle it before when it was happening, because I didn't want to believe it, and I was more, like, logical, like, I didn't believe in, like, God or anything. I didn't believe in a higher power, so, like, it was scaring me to the point where it felt paranormal, I would say, but I was just like, oh no.
Yeah, trying to explain it away in any way you could.
But, yeah, it definitely could be something deep and dark, because it doesn't feel good when at all. Like, it feels fucking terrifying, and like your whole body's in a state. Like, I wake up and normally, like, I'll roll out of bed, I'll jump right up. Like, I've screamed, it's never something that I'm like, ooh, like,
I'm convinced that it's definitely someone, like, trying to steal your body or steal your soul, while you're about to astral project, because it usually happens in the morning as you're waking up, or like, do you know what I mean, when that veil is thin anyway. So just
I wonder, like, why it never happens though. Like, how is it that, like, I'm still protected when I wasn't doing anything to protect myself? Because, or like, did it do damage to me? Like, did it do anything badly? Like, did I wouldn't say that my soul has been taken over,
well,
but like
we've cleansed ourselves, and you know what I mean, done things.
Yeah, but I mean, like, back in the day when I was experiencing that sort of shit, like, I wasn't doing anything actively. Like, I don't know, like, how much worse it could have gotten, only if they were just trying to torment me. Like, because it's, like, spiders or shit like that, normally, like, it's... But, like, what would be the next level? Like, I don't know. I've never heard an account, I guess, besides, like, possession, like, legit.
And alien abduction. Because I feel like there's a lot of people who talk about that being, like, taken out of their bodies and, like, seeing, like, bright lights coming in through their windows. And we equate that to, like, extraterrestrial. But as we know, there are different dimensions. It could be interdimensional as opposed to interplanetary. But, I mean, I don't have any experiences with that. And I don't think I know anyone who has said that they were abducted by aliens.
No,
But there's definitely the Freedom of Information Act. There's like a bunch of information out there now, about like 3,000 pages of communication between alien races, and apparently a lot of it is redacted. And like, I seen a girl who claimed that she was like reading all of them, and like there's people who are downloading and printing them off, and like, because that's crazy information, you know what I mean?
I can't believe they're coming out with that shit. It's just because like push is coming to shove. And there was another TikToker that I seen that she was saying that like the more people that ask for certain documents, like they'll have to release it when people start asking, or something along those lines of like...
What's that library that, was it you who brought it up? That you have to request...
Oh, at the where the Pope lives.
Yes.
What is it called? The cathedral?
Or is it the Sistine Chapel? I
don't know.
Sorry.
It's like the holiest place. What the fuck is it called?
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Wherever the Pope lives, this just sounds like a fucking talking turkey, but there's a library full of classified documents that the church is guarding, and even if you're like a scholar or like a journalist or whatever, you need to request the document. You need to know what document you're looking at, and you can only look at one document a day. So, and I think someone is also watching over you while you're looking at that document. So there's documents in there, if you don't know what to request, then you can't request it, and you can only see one thing a day. So if you're going all the way over to Rome to fucking, because that's where it is, right?
Yeah.
To check out these documents, they're going to make it as hard as possible, because they don't want people looking at it. And there's a lot of, like, shit that's misconstrued, like... even about, like, Kundalini awakening, and, like, there's a lot of parallels that are with other religions that, like, that has just been manipulated, and there's traditions that are being, like, passed down that, like, for one, like, being celibate, like, a lot of, monks and, people of high status are celibate, and they don't know why they're celibate.
Yeah, there's no good explanation.
Because if you don't believe in the chakras and you don't believe in that sort of energy, then why are you being celibate? To be more holy and more pure? But, like, what, you know what I mean? Or is there, like, because there's an energetic, I don't know if I'm butchering this explanation, but, like, a lot of, especially men, like, they say not to even, like, you know.
Yeah, self-service.
Yes, or waste that energy, like, don't transmuted or whatever, like save it up because you'll be able to harness it through your crown chakra or whatever. I really don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but I was just watching something that was explaining how, like, in, like, Christianity, like, a lot of priests wouldn't even know why they're staying celibate, or, like, it's not correlated in that way.
Yeah.
But it was taken from other religions, essentially.
Well, I think... Well, I shouldn't say that, but I think Christianity is just kind of a pick and choose of rules from other religions that...
Yeah. A smorgasbord?
Yeah, that was just kind of mishmash together as something to control a little group of people, and then it worked, and then it caught wildfire. Because, like, I understand there's a lot of good principles. Like, I think that a lot of the ultimate goals of Christianity are good and solid, but just the sense of self-worth and how they treat the individual.
Yeah. Well, it's based off being, like, dirty and impure and unholy and, like, shame and guilt. Yes. And, just for any new listeners or people that don't know, Hannah grew up, like, extremely religious, so she has every right to critique it because she's lived it through and through. I mean, me over here, like, I'm just kind of the peanut gallery, but...
No, but your opinion is valid, too, as an outsider, and I value that as someone... You know what I mean? And I think that even if you hold strong to Christian beliefs, it's good to hear opposing opinions on your beliefs to reaffirm or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I don't think it is all bad, and I don't think that people that live their life that way are bad, and I don't think you think that either, but I just feel as though it's sad because you can harness more power within yourself by treating yourself as number one. Yeah. And I think that's why it kind of... You're essentially giving all of your power away because you're not ever...
You're giving it to this entity, this God that...
is separate from yourself.
Yeah, and who logically, unfortunately, cannot exist. Like, I posted a TikTok on my Instagram that explained that theory better and, like, broke it down, but it just... I've always questioned it from when I was a kid, but I kind of, like... You know, you don't say anything, but you're kind of like, huh? But yeah, I don't know. I should just leave it at that.
Yeah, without going into too much detail. Yeah. I guess if we want to tie it back into astral projection, I think that's very... I don't know if this is true, but is it not, like, doesn't Christianity, like, swear against it or, like, say that it's dangerous, or is there even much? Because I just came across a YouTube video when I first started looking up astral projection, and it was a guy just going on and on about why you shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think that would be something that they would endorse. It's not something that has ever
come up.
Yeah, that's not, like, a practice in Christianity.
It's not even recognized?
No, not really. I think we're more... So, in Christianity, there's 3 realms. There's hell, there's earth, and then there's heaven. There used to be another one. It was called... I forget, but it was, like, the holding place until...
purgatory.
Yeah, until Jesus came and whatever, they all ascended to heaven as well. So, I don't know where I was going with that. They have 3 realms, basically, so they're very committed to this realm. The only way you can ascend is when you die and go to heaven, so you have to make sure everything you're doing on this 3D earth is good and blah, 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 blah. And you can talk to God through prayer, and, like, there's ways that you can connect with the other realms, but you cannot travel until you die.
Okay. So I'm just going to take that into comparison to, like, I don't know if you know this, but Hinduism, how many realms is there? Are we saying realms as in, like, dimensions, or...
Yeah, I would say as in dimensions, because, like, Christianity kind of has it, well...
If there's two different realms, or... Three different realms of 2 different dimensions, essentially?
I guess so. I don't know if heaven and hell would exist in the same dimension. I would assume not. They're like the opposites.
True.
Who knows, though? This is all hypothetical, right? At the end of the day. I'm not sure. I think Hinduism believes in the universal loop theory, and reincarnation and all that. So I think that they don't believe that time is linear. I am not 100% sure where that ends, though, honestly. But
I guess it's just nice to know that there's more than one fucking dimension, because that was mind-boggling to me to, like, learn and to accept, because, like, I've heard it from the side. I've always been scientific, but I never could really grasp it until, like, later on in our spiritual journey, like when we started talking about, like, 3D and 5D. Oh, that kind of reminds me of that TikTok that I feel like we should talk about gatekeeping spirituality, because that was something that we were pretty passionate about in the moment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So essentially there was a girl on TikTok, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't even remember her name, and I've seen her content here and there, and she's just like a spiritual influencer or whatever. And she was what is that trend? It's like wee, is it that one? I think so she's basically saying, like, people you need to drop based on if they say this, and then it was just like people who say, like, 5D ascension, and then she's saying, like, get rid of them, and then people who say woke, get rid of them, people who believe in aliens, get rid of them. Like, how on earth? I don't know, like, why that even fell onto my algorithm at all. Like, I don't like what that spirituality is, like, because it's not only just that, there's so much gatekeepy, like, vibes coming from the spiritual community, lately, and I don't like it, because that's why we felt so comfortable starting the podcast, because we don't know what we're talking about. We're learning as we go. And maybe we believe in something for a certain amount of time doesn't mean that we're fucking not worthy or not spiritual, because that was the message that, I know it was a joke, and it kind of peeved us off, and I know that she's just fucking around, but it's like, it's making people feel unincluded, or like it's starting a little bit of a war.
I would say I've seen a couple things now, a couple TikToks that have frustrated me, talking about how, this is how this goes, and this is how
chakra guy.
And I can't get into it in too much detail because it actually makes me mad. Like, what? Who are you to say that you know anything
within
more?
Certain, I know.
And if you do, why would you go about it like that? Like saying, like guilting people for trying. Like,
exactly. At least they're trying.
And the problem with spirituality is that he's talking about Hinduism specifically. I do not identify as Hindu, so when I talk about chakras and spirituality, I'm somewhere in between all of this. I don't have a specific religion because I don't believe in organized traditional religion at all, in any form. Anything that has a name to it that we recognize very quickly, I'm probably not down to, you know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's not disrespectful. I seen another TikTok saying, like, you can't just pick and choose. Like, why not? It's working for me. So why, why is it bothering you that I'm borrowing, like, I don't, like, it's kind of down to cultural appropriation. I'm not trying to do that. I'm very interested in chakras, and I like the learning that it is unlocked for me, and maybe I'm misunderstanding it in a way, but I'm not being disrespectful.
And most people who actually belong to that culture, because a lot of the times in these situations, these are people speaking outside of their culture.
Yeah, big time.
A lot of the people who practice these things are very welcoming to that, love to meet you halfway, wherever the fuck you are, and are overjoyed to hear that someone, you know what I mean, in the Canadian society would want to delve deeper into what they believe. Like, that's awesome. Wouldn't you like it if someone came and you wanted you to explain their, or
just us, what we're doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like we don't...
People sit and listen to us talk. Like,
exactly. And, like, you're never going to teach someone by shaming them or making them feel bad. That is not the way to correct behavior. No. And even that goes down to, like, don't get me wrong, I'm all about humor, and I can take a fucking joke, and I am not, like, overly sensitive, but when it comes to this spiritual community, I don't think that's the place to pass judgment, because that's what it's really coming down to, is you're being judgy and very the only way that I can put it is gatekeeping. Like, only you can say this, and if you believe that, and if you believe this, and I kind of get where, like, the girl that I'm referring to was coming from, because I read the comments, and, like, there's people that are getting, like, scared because of, like, I don't want to get left in 3D, and this and that, and, but it's not.
It's okay. It's not like there's any mothership that's gonna leave you behind. There's always an opportunity for you to ascend. Like,
and at the end of the day, you don't fucking know what's up, so don't fucking shame people for talking about aliens and stuff. At the beginning, I didn't believe that at all. That was like, and I feel like it's a journey where you're going through, like, waves of it, and you understand it a little bit more and more and more, and then when you're ready to understand it, you will. So maybe that's just the level that she's in.
But it's not fair. It's not fair to criticize. That's not the way you promote inclusivity, and spirituality is not. It's a community.
It is a community.
Where people can come and go as they please. There is no gate. And we don't need anyone at the front of it. We appreciate, you know what I mean? Of course we want to keep this a happy and safe place, but I think the best way to do that is to just let everyone believe what they want to and speak how they will. And I choose to accept what I choose to accept, and they choose to accept what they choose to accept out of what they receive. So.
And don't shame people along the way, like that, like, essentially, like,
that you do not perceive as woke as you are.
And if you don't resonate with it, then leave it at that. Like, don't tell people to fucking drop them. Like, I wish I could remember what her terminology was. Like, but she was essentially like, nasty, she's like, like, if they use this terminology, like, drop them. Oh, if anyone in your spiritual group uses,
run. I think it was,
And, like, who are you to sit there and say, like, I don't know why, I mean, go ahead, go put out whatever content you want, but, like, that's pretty ballsy for her to just go and call out that much of the spiritual community. Like, especially, like, Leora Alexandra, Aaron Dowdy, who have a fucking, like, I know that Aaron has 1 million subscribers, and he uses that terminology. So, like, there's some random fucking girl on TikTok, and you're gonna sit there.
I know. We could all be referring to a different thing when we're saying 5D. Me and you could be referring to something totally different. You know what I mean? So to say that you should run if someone uses that term, well,
it's a good way to grasp. Like, I'm glad that we started using it, because it's funny. We actually, like, one of our crazy spiritual awakening nights, remember, like, the night that we conceived the podcast, we were trying to. We wrote out a diagram, not using 3D versus 5D terminology. We just, like, fucking were, like, writing a weird, like, just how diagram, we pictured it. Yes, trying to explain 3D versus 5D, and we use it loosely because it's a way to explain, in my opinion, and I think the way that Hannah uses it, living within the matrix or living without of the matrix. And sorry if that isn't right, but that is a good way to grasp.
Well, and you know what? There was a point where, like you said, we didn't even have those words, and eventually we'll have better words to break it down more, because we're just learning, and as is the collective. I think that a lot of the stuff that we're learning about are downloads that other people are, you know what I mean, and conclusions other people are coming to, just because of the state of the world and the planets and all that good stuff. So
it's like a collective effort to figure out, because, like, I found that our, like, my learning skyrocketed after TikTok. Like, instead of just watching YouTube videos, which I did on my own, like, watching TikTok was, like, instant, like, oh, okay. And I think it catapulted my understanding. But, grain of salt, I mean, you never fucking know. It could be two people just like us. Like, we don't really know either. Like, we're just fucking shooting the shit. So I'm not trying to get too engorged in it, because there's a lot of it that kind of does make you feel like you're not spiritual enough, or do you ever get those vibes like, oh, like, there's more, like, it makes me almost feel like I'm not acting the way that I should be acting in a spiritual manner. I'm not spiritual enough, or like, oh, if I'm acting or if I'm doing all these things, should I be feeling this certain way? And I kind of got caught up in a way that you would with stereotypical social media. Like, it was doing the same thing to me. It was kind of making me feel
religion
shitty.
Even, right? Because I feel like that's a lot of the things that you ask. Well, I ask myself as a Christian, when you're like enjoying yourself or whatever. Well, how do other people perceive it? But it doesn't matter, right? Your spiritual journey is your spiritual journey. So if you are doing something that other people wouldn't perceive as spiritual, maybe you are, yes, but that's unfortunately a lesson that you're going to have to learn. and a conclusion that you're going to have to come to, and that's the only reason that is acting out, because it's a block.
It's breaking out of the construct of your brain.
Yes,
which, that's what even 3D versus 3D versus 5D, like, that's kind of another way to look at it. It's when you kind of break through, like, a mental block or an ego death, or
like your eureka moment.
Yes, when you're like kind of like putting all, like, I don't know, lifting the veil, and like a new realization is being birthed from that, because I think that 3D thinking or like constructs are always going to be there, and you're always going to have to work through them, and then you kind of come to like the final conclusion, which is not like nothing matters and nothing is real, because that's toxic. Sometimes I'll slip into that too, like existentialism, like, well, what's the point of anything?